Hello there, hello there, hello there, everybody. How the devil are we all? I am very well. Thank you for asking. I apologise for my slight lateness in getting proceedings started. I was dealing with a call of nature. I'll leave it there. There are people who will be eating. We'll leave it there. But how are we all besides?
Stop it. Get some help.
Thank you, Madcat Scotty I. By the way, everyone go and follow Madcat Scotty I on Twitch. And I can never remember the two names together. I either know the name you go by on Twitch or the name you go by on YouTube, but I can never remember. Anyway, put your links in the chat and everyone can go and follow you. Who is awesome. Who says, rejoice, your fragile Scottish Marxist has been here for 19 months. Much luck to you. What is this? Over the past few months, my friend Matt Walshblot has been threatening to extend. He's had full-time security at his home. That is a weird meme, but thank you, Phantom. Much love. Anywho, how old we are? I can't fucking speak. How are we all? World War III has yet to fully kick off, but it has kicked off enough. For those who don't know, who maybe missed the news, America has now bombed the shit out of Iran. We have absolutely no idea whether this is going to spiral into something much worse. It appears that the Iranian parliament has voted to close the Straits of Hormuz, which is one of the great bottlenecks in terms of international trade and indeed in terms of oil and natural gas. So, we might be completely fucked. Good luck on those cheap eggs, America. I hope it was worth it, you stupid bastards. Get ready to have your legs blown off for Israel, because it's gonna fucking happen. And also massive condolences to Baron Trump, who has been diagnosed with congenital bone spurs, which it seems he's been passed on in heredity from his father, which means, of course, it's such a shame because he wanted to serve. He wanted to serve, but unfortunately, will now have to not do so, which is a shame. Really, it really is. It's terrible. But don't worry, you and your stupid kids from Appalachia can go and fight and die for Benjamin Netanyahu. Yes. We're here to watch Laura Koonsberg talking about various things in a very, very award-winning journalism way, because that is, of course, the only thing she knows is eating hot chip, award-winning journalism, and lying. Mainly the latter. Yes. I mean, I don't even know. I've got loads of stuff like bookmarked. I think probably the strangest meme, pardon me, of all of this is people celebrating the fact that there were no leaks from Pete Hegseth, the DUI hire. Yeah, look, it's a Conservative thing. Not a single leak. Well done, Secretary of Defence. Like, motherfucker, you like. Wow, he didn't drunkenly text the details of top secret military intelligence to a journalist this time. Fascinating stuff. I mean, like, you do realise that's like you're treating the Secretary of Defence of the United States of America about in the same way that you would with, like, a child who didn't piss the bed last night. Oh, well done! Dry sheets today. Well done, Peter. Woo! Like, what the fuck? Yeah, the bar really is that fucking low, man. No leaks. Zero. None. Like, motherfucker, that's what he's supposed to do. What the fuck? God almighty, they're mental. Anyway, so it's going super well. Yeah, we're going to listen to watch Lauren Koonsberg. Apologies that No Justice is not with us today. She is still in undisclosed location, doing gatherings of the magic variety, I'm led to believe. Yes. So she'll be with us at some point. I don't know. She's doing shit. She's touching grass, albeit she's in a part of the world where there isn't much grass. Anyway, if you are interested in supporting my my stream, and why would you not be? It's superb. You can hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I don't know why I started with like button. That's a YouTube thing. That's not usually the order I do things in. If you're on Twitch, you can follow. You can subscribe. You can subscribe with Amazon Prime. You can gift subs to the community. Finger the rules based order. Okay, yeah, I will, Solly. If we go into a hype train, I'll do that. Yes, you can do bits messages. 200 bitty bits or more gets you a text to speech. You can do super chats by the Streamlabs link below. You can help me out on Patreon and or PayPal. What is this? Keir Starmer has appointed the first ever female MI6 chief, Blaze Mitrawelli. What the fucking of a name is that? I think that's mental. If you're on YouTube,
stiff dick of poop.
Oh, if you're on, hang on, no, what's it? I've got a Discord, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Threads. If you're on YouTube, or you're YouTubers, you can subscribe for free. You can press the thumbs up. Ah, you fucking fuckhead! You can thumbs up the video. You can do that as well. You can scare the living cunt out of me. Right? You've got you thumb the video up. You can do alerts by the bell icon or something. You can what else can you fucking do? Oh, you can become a member for 99 pence, which is like $1.20 or something. I don't know. In America. And you can gift membership to the community. You can do super chats, which I will read out. As indeed, I have one such to read out from the YouTubes. It's Tessa says, award-winning Kevinism. I don't know that I'll be winning many awards. Is being prescribed by the British government an award? Because if so, I suspect that might be happening soon. Because as we all know, is that Helen? What the? Oh, that's her. Oh, okay. Shit. Right. Sorry. I thought that was a joke. I thought you were doing a joke about it looking like Helen, and I was like, nah, it won't look that much like her. It actually does look quite a lot like her. Is she related? Do we know? I don't know. But talking of girl bossing, did you see the ultimate girl boss? They literally did the meme, by the way. They did the meme. Here we go. At least one of the B-2 bomber pilots who took part in the Iranian mission was female, according to Fox News. They're literally doing the meme. Oh, they say next time the drone pilot will be female. It really makes you feel like you're part of history. They're literally doing the meme. More female bomber pilots. Woke genocide. World War woke. Fucking Christ almighty. And again, it just goes to show, in some respects, it's a good day for feminism. Not because there's a girl boss genocider, but it just goes to show you that women are equal to men in that they can also be massive pricks. They can also just be the worst fucking people on the planet. Which is a weird way of proving that, unfortunately. It's weird that you had to do like you can be as bad as men rather than you can be like, I don't know, as good. You can invent shit or whatever. But like we've done it, everybody. Gender equality via evil. Oh, humanity. Honestly, it really does make you question, like as a socialist, whether we can actually do this. That's the kind of black pilling thing. It's not just we're going through a world war, because we've been through those. Like that's Humanity does this shit. Okay, we've never been through one where everyone's got fucking nukes, which is scary. But like, we've been through world wars. That's not the end of the question, or end of the kind of line of thought here. It's that as a socialist, I require believing that my fellow human can partake of the gains of labour, the gains of human endeavour, the common achievement of mankind in an equitable, fair and decent way. And yet I look around the world and you just see human beings behaving in the worst possible way. Which, like, yeah, I get that capitalism has fucked up incentive structures, but so did pre-capitalist societies, and we seem to have acted in pretty shit ways then too. You know. It's not nice. But on the plus side, the way you can achieve socialism is by giving me money, of course. Is by doing bits and subs and stuff. Thank you, Bilderberg, for gifting a sub to Solii. If someone else does a thing now, I think we get on a hype train, and then I can finger the rules-based international order, which is most assuredly dead as fuck. Anyway, dear chat, let us not waste any more time. Let's watch Laura Koonsberg. Yeah. Can we watch a video on Iranian history and or culture one day this week? Yeah, if you've got a suggestion, absolutely. Like, I don't really know of any particularly good videos on that, but if they are, if you know of any, the stream suggestions part of my Discord is open to all. I can't promise I definitely will follow anything you put there or watch anything you put there, but you know, it's going to be. I can only help. What is this?
The return of the sausages.
Apparently, Rod
Rest in
Fleming is
peace,
not
rule
dead.
of law.
Apparently, Rod Fleming is not dead. Oh, that's a shame. Okay. Well, presumably he's despunkifying there as we speak. Thank you, Over the Story with 667 bitties. Apparently that didn't start a hype train. Is there a time limit on these things? There probably is, isn't there? I don't know. Anyway, thank you for the bitty bits. Much love. Yeah. Anywho, we've got the 4 twat men of the apocalypse here. Let's have a look.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan.
America bombs Iran and says, make peace or else.
Just listen to yourselves. For the love of God, listen to yourselves. They bombed the shit out of Iran and said, do peace or else. What the fuck? I don't know how else to show that, like, you're the bad guys. I don't know how... look, if I was given the opportunity to frame that sentence in a way that more accurately described how fucked up the West's policy is here, of bombing the shit out of a country and then going, well, you'd better be peaceful. What? Are you fucking mental? You drop bombs and then go, can we all be peaceful, please? Can we not do escalation? Unbelievable. Kev, what is your opinion on spurgling? Real word. Would advise to Google if unknown. Okay, I'm going to Google very much off air, for fuck's sake. Because I know you people are degenerates. Spurgling is a portmanteau of sperm and burglar. Okay. used as a form of forced fatherhood where a man's semen is used to impregnate a woman without his consent. Oh, well, that's fucking dreadful. Yeah, it used to be... It used to be referred to as sperm jacking back in the day. Yeah, and it's obviously, like, immoral. I don't know if it's illegal, but it fucking should be. In many ways, this is the Iraq War, but totally unvarnished. You're so right, Solly. You're so fucking right. You're so right. This was... Hang on, where was it? Here, look at this, right? Back in the day, they used to pretend they had intelligence briefings on their side. Now they don't bother.
Up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I think that question being asked on the media, that's an irrelevant question.
No,
it's irrelevant. It's literally, they're not even pretending now. Like back in George Bush's day, they had to make up lies about stuff. They made up like fake dossiers of information, which was, you know, bullshit. Whereas now it's just like, no, we're not even going to pretend we've got intelligence. It's irrelevant. You don't need intelligence. No, we're just going to do it. It is just the Iraq War, but done by fucking morons. And the media are so shit that there's no pushing back on it. And the UN, I mean, God, the UN are fucking embarrassing. Guterres, or whatever his fucking name is. Oh, we're deeply concerned about the issue. Honestly, we're going to be in a nuclear hellscape, right? We're going to be nuclear winter. The world's population will dwindle down to 50,000. And the last thing anyone will hear will be the United Nations going, we're deeply concerned. Fucking embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. What's Keith going to do? Whatever America tells him to do. Obviously. He's not going to fucking stand up to any of these wankers. He's not going to do anything that the Americans don't tell him to do.
Key nuclear enrichment.
Also, J.D. Vance really does wear makeup, doesn't he? Look, that's eyeliner, my dude. Don't get me wrong, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with a bit of guyliner on him, but it's just, you know... For a very, very homophobic White House, they are enormously homoerotic in some respects. Two of the most effete homophobes there have ever been.
Enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks...
The bully of the Middle East? I'm sorry, which country has bombed like 6 different fucking Middle Eastern countries in the last week? Ironically, it's not even America this time. It's literally just Israel that have done that. Fucking mad shit. Are you expecting global nuclear war? No, I don't think there'll be global nuclear war. But what I think will happen is that they'll shut down the Straits of Hormuz and our fucking prices for everything will go through the fucking roof. They will economically cripple the West. And I don't think Trump will care. Trump doesn't need anyone's votes anymore. Because regardless of what he says, he's not running for a 3rd term. He's like fucking 90. Like, it's over. Thank you, Wayward Story. No, I already read that out. Hello, Carpe Pax. Hello, Carpe Pax. Everyone go and follow Carpe Pax immediately. Otherwise, I will bring hellfire down upon you. I won't do that, but, you know.
Attacks would be far greater and a lot easier.
President Trump claims Iran's nuclear facilities were destroyed. So what now for this war? Will Iran hit back?
But like, no one, like, why would you trust anything Trump says? At all. In any way. And by the way, I mean, we'll get into this, I suppose, as we go along, but like, even if they don't manage, or so even if they do manage to completely, like, destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities or whatever, you know this doesn't make it less likely that they'll get a bomb in the next 20 years, right? Because all you're telling all of the world is that they have to get a nuclear bomb. Because if they don't, that you'll get bullied by the Americans and the Israelis. Or the Brits or the French or whoever, it doesn't really matter. The NATO cunbags, right? Like, do you know who looks like a fucking genius right now? Kim Jong-il. the dearly departed, former leader of North Korea. Because you'll notice that regime, the Kims, very much still in power. The grandson currently is very much ensconced because they got a nuclear bomb. Whereas Gaddafi was searching for a nuclear bomb and was convinced by the Americans, no, don't get a nuclear weaponry. Don't do that. We'll always be your friend. And then about 15 years ago, they were dragging his corpse through the street. You know. It's just telling the world you have to get nuclear weaponry, otherwise you're fucked. You have given every despot, every dictator, and frankly, every democratic government as well, in the world, that this is the way to go. Because even if you're friendly with America now, even if you're friendly with the West and you sell them all your oil, and you allow them to have all of the rare earth minerals, and you take big fucking loans out from the IMF, and you do absolutely everything you can, as soon as it's convenient for you, or for them, you're fucked. You'll be overthrown and replaced with someone even more compliant, even more bendable to the will of the West. And that's all that you've reinforced for the entire world now. And so, even if you get rid of the Ayatollah, let's say they kill the Ayatollah, they decapitate the government, they bring in some Western-friendly puppet government. Over the course of the next 20 years, that government will be slowly replaced by one the Iranian people actually want, and that government will know we need to get a nuclear weapon right the fuck now. Otherwise, we face the same problem of just becoming a plaything for the Israelis and Americans to bomb every 20 years. That's the only thing you've accomplished here, is ensuring that a future Iranian government will definitely seek to get a nuclear weapon, you stupid bastards. The fucking Obama deal was there. The Obama deal was there. But because a black man signed it, you had to get rid of it, didn't you? You stupid cunts.
The Iranian ambassador is here
like
with us
the
live.
only successful thing that cunt did in foreign policy. It was the one thing they got rid of. Idiots.
Will Israel stop its attacks on Iran?
Fuck me. They've got fucking Herzog on. Unbelievable. Like, also, dude, we get it. Yes, you're Jewish. You don't actually need to have a menorah behind you. Come on. You've literally got 2 Israeli flags on screen, one on a pin, one on a badge. You don't need the menorah. Like, we get it. Yes, we know you want to virtue signal. Look how Jewish I am. You can't attack me. I'm Jewish. That would be anti-Semitism. Any criticism of me is, by comparison, criticism of every Jewish person on the planet. It's fucking... it's shameless. Fucking hell. You fucking genocidal cunt.
We speak to the President, and the Business Secretary, Jonathan
Oh,
Reynolds,
brilliant.
is
This
here
ghoul
for the
as
British
well.
government.
What religion is he? Who knows? It could be anything, couldn't it? You know what? I'm going to be ironic and say Zoroastrian. Because that's from Iran.
Morning. And our team at the desk for this next busy hour, Tom Tugendhat, Conservative MP, former Security Minister.
Fuck me, Tom Tugendhat. So, this guy's going to give you the NATO spiel. I'm just going to tell you that now. He's just going to give you the NATO spiel. He's a Tory cunt. Fuck him.
Who also served in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Zara Sultana, formerly Labour, now Independent
Oh,
MP.
interesting.
And
Okay, a vaguely leftist person. Cool. And then Peter Cunting Morgan. Oh, no way. I hadn't even looked who the third prick was. Piers Morgan. How often is this cunt on this fucking TV show? He's on every other week. Wow, for fuck's sake. Is he never off the fucking telly? Jesus Christ, I fucking hate this country so much. Fucking award-winning journalist, man. Suck a dick.
Man of many opinions and Trump whisperer Piers Morgan. Welcome to all three of you.
When you say Trump whisperer, you mean Trump dick rider. Yeah, we know.
Let's start on this big day with what we know. Donald Trump gathered his team in the White House situation.
Which, by the way, blatant fucking breaking of this, the Hatch Act, whatever. The idea of doing political fucking, what you call it, on official state business. You shouldn't be wearing that fucking hat. And everyone knows you shouldn't be wearing that hat, but the rules don't matter anymore. And look at the fucking guy liner on this man. He's gone full emo. We're dropping bombs. Bombs of pain. Just like Mom did.
Room to watch the attacks on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. On Thursday, he told the world he might take 2 weeks to decide whether to help Israel in its quest to destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. But it was much quicker than that. The attacks took place at around midnight our time, announced by Donald Trump with great fanfare at 3 in the morning here. Only American planes were capable of carrying the heavy bombs needed to strike at Fordo, the Iranian nuclear facility. These are images of the site before the attacks. The secretive location, about 60 miles south of the capital, Tehran, in the mountains. The facility, deep underground, thought to consist of 2 main tunnels housing centrifuges used to enrich uranium. America now claims Fordo's been destroyed, along with 2 other nuclear sites. But Israel and Iran have carried on striking each other from the skies overnight. This is Tel Aviv in Israel, where there's been a heavy barrage of missiles. Here in another city, Haifa.
Oh no! Finding out! Reaping what we have sown! No!
You can see Israeli rescue crews at work. There have been explosions in Jerusalem as well, from where we'll hear from the Israeli president in a few minutes. Israel has carried on its attacks in Iran. So far, at least 400 Iranians have been killed in this.
Okay, someone did a Hirohito of Trump. We have completed a very successful attack on Hawaii. All planes are now outside of American airspace. A full payload of bombs has been dropped on the primary site, Pearl Harbor. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great Japanese warriors. This is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Conflict. It's worth remembering throughout the next hour, there's no free reporting in Iran, so we don't yet have any images of what's happened overnight there, but we...
Interestingly, you don't mention that there's no free reporting in Gaza either, because Israel has literally banned international observers. Because, you know, they wouldn't want anyone focusing on the actual war crimes they're doing, and continuing to do every fucking day. There's a flower massacre every fucking day now. Yeah.
We will bring you them as soon as we can. America's decision to intervene could change everything in the region, everything in this conflict. So let's go straight to Gary O'Donoghue, who's in Washington, D.C. for us this morning. Gary, what was it like overnight for you when this announcement suddenly came from the White House?
It was a pretty dramatic series of events, I've got to tell you, because the president flew back from his golf club in New Jersey just in the...
Oh, that was good of him. He took time out from golf to do a bit of fucking World War. Oh, good for him. Thanks.
Late afternoon for a scheduled National Security Council meeting at 6 p.m. local time. Shortly after that, about half an hour after that, reporters were told that the White House was calling what we call a lid. In other words, go home, no news tonight. And then an hour and a half later, the Truth Social drops, announcing the attacks. Truth Social, his platform...
They even have to lie about starting World War III. Like, literally everything Trump does is just bullshit.
Then crashes. And 2 hours after that, we get this address from the East Room, flanked by his key lieutenants, sign of unity there.
Notice, Americans, he said lieutenants, not lieutenants. That is the correct pronunciation. The language is called English, not American. Sort yourselves out.
Talking about Iran and suggesting that it has to make a choice now between peace or tragedy, from that very spot where Barack Obama announced the killing of Osama bin Laden all those years ago. So everyone is now holding their breath to see what happens next, because America is always subject to the effects of public opinion, and any retaliation will start to dent.
French isn't real, and France doesn't really exist. So stop lying, Lord Fritos. Just because you're in the pocket of big Brie. I'm not part of your fucking charcuterie industrial complex. I won't have this nonsense, okay?
This evening, if America cannot sort of absorb that shock that those retaliations entail.
Gary, thanks so much indeed for being with us this morning. Let's go straight then to our team at the desk. Tom, you've followed events in the Middle East for a long time. You've served in the Middle East too, as well as serving as security minister for the Conservative government. Is the decision that the Americans took yesterday the right one?
Yeah, do you remember when you were security minister and the prime minister you were serving made a statement so absurd that it was used by the Iranian regime to further imprison a British subject? Do you remember that? Do you remember when your government did that? And how fantastically secure you made us? Do you remember that? Do you remember that, Tom? Tom!
Yes. Taking out the Fordo site is enormously important. This is a nuclear capability that is built specifically and totally for the murder.
Yeah, and that is his name. Tugend Hat. That is literally the man's name. Although not as silly as the name. Oh God, I got onto a weird thing about Stonehenge the other day. Right? Don't ask me why, but I was reading about Stonehenge, and anyway, I ended up on the Wikipedia page, and I didn't realise, right, the names of the two people involved in the modern sale of Stonehenge, because Stonehenge is on what was private land. So technically, like, there was a family of cuntbags who owned it. Where are we? Modern history. Here we go. Where's the name of these fucking dickheads? No, not 21st century. Where are they? It was like Lord fucking mental name, and then a different guy. Oh, for fuck's sake, where is it? Origin, development, folklore. Acquisition by the nation, here we go. These are the fucking cunts, right. So, it was owned by this fucking family, the Earl of Hertford, blah blah blah. Marquis of Queensbury, Lord Cullerton, blah blah blah. And then it was eventually passed down to, and the name of the person is fucking mental, Sir Cosmo Gordon Antrobus. I'll repeat that. I'll just repeat that verbatim. Sir Cosmo Gordon Antrobus. Sensational. Sounds like a fucking Dickens character, but he was in 1915, because of course. And then, a much shorter name, much shorter, but still, in its own way, very strange. It was bought for £6,000 and eventually donated to the state by Cecil Chubb. I don't know why. I don't know why Cecil Chubb made me laugh. It just sounds like a cute name for a man's penis or something. Have I introduced you to Cecil Chubb? Anyway, so those are two people who existed who sold a piece of land to one another over 100 years ago. I just thought I'd bring that to you. We're a very serious country. You will take us seriously. You will respect us. The ancient lineage of the Antrobuses and the Chubbs will not be mocked. Fucking knobs, man.
Of Jews in Israel. That is literally what it's designed to do. That's why it was placed on.
No, okay, so he's just said like, oh, they're building a nuclear bomb to kill Jews. No, they're not. They're building a nuclear bomb, or if they, to the degree to which they were trying to build a nuclear bomb at all, they're doing it to protect themselves from like being invaded and overthrown by the Americans. Obviously. For fuck's sake. Like, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of anti-Semites in the fucking Iranian regime, but they're not suicidal. If they fucking bomb Jerusalem with a nuclear weapon, they'd be turned to glass instantly. They're not fucking self-destructive. They understand what they need to do to try and survive. So you trying to be like, oh, it's just the anti-Semitisms, is ridiculous. He looks like a middle-aged Elton John. He looks like a very poor Elton John tribute act. Yeah. Are you dying, Kev? I mean, it's World War III, so we're all going to die soon, you know.
Under the IRGC and not under the civilian regime. It was entirely designed to create weapons. It was not designed for any civilian purpose at all. And actually, by destroying it, it's keeping the British people safer as well. Because the
Oh yeah, we're so much safer now. Now that we're in a fucking war. And by the way, the British government have already confirmed that if Iran retaliate and kill a single, or not even kill, if they attack a single American site or personnel or even vehicle, that will be considered a direct attack by a foreign threat actor under Article 5 of the NATO treaty. And we will be forced, by law that we signed, to intervene on behalf of the United States. Because there are some international laws that we will follow, and it's always to the benefit of the Americans. Cool. Thanks, Keith. Love it. Although, of course, I knew this was going to happen the second that Keith said it wasn't going to happen. As soon as he was like, oh, I see no reason why the American government would do this. I knew they were going to, obviously. Because Keith is forensic. He's so forensic.
Missiles that the IRGC have been developing would reach as far as London and would threaten us as well.
And from Europe...
That isn't true. This guy's such a bullshitter. And they're not going to push back on this at all. We know as far as they can reach, and they can reach Cyprus. Which, to be fair, means they could attack RAF Akrotiri. But they couldn't reach fucking London. That's a whole continent away. Albeit Europe isn't really a continent, we've been through this before.
Contacts in the region. Do you think that Americans claim that they have destroyed that facility is true from what you know and what you can tell us?
So the initial reports that we're hearing are that appears to be the case. Of course, you've got to wait until confirmation satellite passes and evidence on the ground comes up. But at the moment, it appears that the Americans have struck all three targets extremely precisely and destroyed areas that were threatening the British people.
Zara, you've been very critical of Israel's behaviour previously and indeed
So, again, this is the BBC just parroting NATO-Israel talking points. Not unchallenged completely. At no point did she go, and what's the evidence for any of those claims you just made? Completely unchallenged. And if you're wondering why that might be, it could possibly have something to do with where I definitely did bookmark this. I definitely did. Has it been deleted by presumably Twitter? By the way, Twitter has been like, they've obviously Elon Musk is so horny for war against Iran that he's really put his thumb on the scales, because Twitter is just like, it's like a Mossad fucking staging post at this point. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I can't find it. But anyway, the guy, we'll get into it, but there's a lot of, let's say, institutional capture.
of America's backing for Israel in various different guises. What do you make of what's happened overnight?
This is a dangerous escalation. What we're seeing is a rerun of the 2003 Iraq playbook, where we were told that we were 45 minutes away from an attack on UK soil. We know that the dossier around weapons of mass destruction was fabricated. It was an illegal war and it was wrong. And we're seeing the same manufacturing of consent happening right now. We're being told it's about national security. The same institutions that told us that it was right to go into Iraq are doing the same thing again, and they cannot be trusted, and this is wrong. The UK should not be America's poodle in its imperialist foreign policy, and we should stand against it.
Do you not trust then the International Atomic Authority that has said repeatedly they found Iran in breach of...
This is just pro-war propaganda. She never at one point questioned Tom Tugendhat's bullshit. She didn't raise a single fucking sentence of opposition to anything he said. And now she's just spewing the same fucking bullshit. Oh my God. And in case you were wondering why that might be, let me introduce you to a man called Rafi Berg. You might not have heard of him. You really should have. A senior BBC editor at the centre of an ongoing scandal into the network's systemic pro-Israel bias is, in fact, a former member of a CIA propaganda outfit. Rafi Berg, an Englishman who heads the BBC's Middle East desk, formerly worked for the US State Department's Foreign Broadcast Information Service, a unit that, by his own admission, was a CIA front group. Berg is currently a suspect in considerable scrutiny after 13 BBC employees spoke out, claiming, among other things, that his, quote, entire job was to water down everything that's too critical of Israel, and he holds wild amounts of power at the British state broadcaster. There's also a thing in here about him bragging about working with Mossad. Where is that? Mossad, here we go. The CIA, however, is not the only clandestine spy organisation with which Berg has a long history of collaborating. Oh, hang on. He also has a rich professional relationship with Mossad, Israel's primary intelligence agency. In 2020, for instance, Berg published, quote, Red Sea Spies, the true story of Mossad's fake diving resort, unquote, a book that tells the story of the Israeli operation to clandestinely smuggle Ethiopian Jews into Israel. That the 320-page account lionises Israel and its spies is perhaps unsurprising, considering how much Mossad put into its creation. Berg said that he wrote the book, quote, in collaboration with Mossad. In his own words, he knew next to nothing about the story and its background before writing it. Fucking hell. Unbelievable. Amazing shit. Amazing. And then leads us to... hang on a second.
Get the fuck, they came not play me all these mutants.
Oh, we've got a Raider Reno. Good God. Hello there, James from the motherfucking internet. How are you, mate? Everyone go and follow James, obviously. Hello there, James Raiders. We're currently looking at the fact that the Israeli government basically run the fucking foreign affairs output of the British Broadcasting Corporation, otherwise known as the BBC. Yeah, very, very bad stuff. And I'm about to, if I can fucking find the clip, show there was a recent journalists conference type thing in London where, of all people, the Conservative, and I'm Conservative with a small c, journalist in the UK, absolutely rinsing the BBC for its obvious, ridiculous pro-Israel bias. If I can find the fucking clip. Where is it? Oh God, I bookmarked too much shite, that's the problem. Far too much shit. Where is it? Come on. Why do I always fucking bookmark the RAF Akrotiri clip every fucking day, even though like it's the same thing every day. Absolutely wild shit. Where is it? Come on, here we go. Right. So, British journalist Peter Oborne, who is literally has written for like the Telegraph and the Times and all the rest of it, with I think the most impassioned bit of questioning that you'll see on this. It's amazing. And again, this is a Conservative doing this. Again, Conservative as in a person who believes in conservatism. He's not affected by the party or anything.
Never bothered to tell your viewers and listeners. Now, Haaretz has reported it, Yeriot has reported it, the Israeli papers, ABC News, the United Nations, the BBC. I would love to know why you have never reported, never mentioned it once on that. Question number one. Question number two. This report reveals that the BBC has only once, in passing, mentioned the Dahia, and you cannot understand what is going on in Gaza, has been going on for the last almost 2 years, without knowing the Dahia doctrine is an official Israeli doctrine which licenses indiscriminate destruction of civilian assets, including people, in order to terrify the other side into resistance. The BBC has never once mentioned, except in passing, why not, It's a grotesque omission.
Don't just read the thing though, because some of these are wrong. It says here accept in policy, but it's actually accept in passing. So the subtitles are not exact.
Not. It's a grotesque omission. I would have thought, but I would love to get your explanation. We now come on to the fact that to begin with, the BBC scarcely reported the genocidal comments made by the most senior Israeli politicians, including, never apparently, according to this report, the Amalek remarks, the genocidal remarks of Netanyahu. So you never educated your audience about the genocidal remarks, and according to this report, on 100 occasions, you've closed down references to genocide by your guests. This makes you complicit, by the way. You're part of these immensely grave matters. You, the BBC, become complicit in them. Bear that in mind. I just want to mention one other thing. And I can't believe what I'm going to say. This figure of 6%, 170 something journalists murdered by Israel. BBC's only bothered to report 6% of them, whereas you dutifully reported 60% of Ukrainian journalists. Do you agree?
That's an amazing statistic. If you're a journalist murdered in Ukraine, you are 10 times more likely to have been covered by the BBC than if you were a journalist murdered in Gaza. Unbelievable. The BBC are such fucking captured scum at this point. It's fucking shameful. It's absolutely shameful. Unbelievable shit, man. Fucking 6%. They've covered 6%. You would think that the journalists who work for the BBC, even those that are relatively pro-Israel, or at least, I don't know, neutral on the matter, would have some self-respect and some self-preservation about this and be like, well, I don't want to get murdered by a government. Maybe we should speak up about a government that's obviously, definitely targeting journalists. You'd think a journalist would be interested in that, wouldn't you? You think they'd have something to say about a government purposefully targeting journalists. And yet, seemingly not. Which is a level of blasé passivity to the matter that is concerning.
With David Landy that there are no journalists in Gaza. You were saying you had your own people. Why? I would love to know why you only reported. Because I find it, as a journalist, as a human being, actually. And now I'm going to ask you, I was pipe down in a second, I'm going to ask you one final question. Well, it's simply amazing. We have in Britain the leading historian of Israel. His name is Avi Schlein. You won't have heard of it because you've never brought him on your channel. Avi Schlein is the leading historian. He's written more authoritative books about the history of Israel than anybody else.
And they've never had him on. Not once. They have brought on Isaac Herzog onto the fucking Laura Kuenssberg show like 4 times or something now. But heaven forbid that you would actually have on anyone who might tell you something vaguely different about the world. Anyway, people wanted a link to the video, so the only link I have is from x.com, the everything app. So by all means. Hello there, James Raiderinos, by the way. You should hit the follow button. It's free and makes me mildly horny. So you should definitely do that. Anyway, so if you were wondering why the BBC might have a certain stance on these things, it's because they've been captured by Zionist forces. That's literally true. I'm not saying the Jews did it. I'm saying specifically the Israeli government and Zionist forces have purposefully targeted and captured major institutions in Britain, including the government and the BBC. Yeah. Is that a real thing that's been sent to me? Is he literally now calling for a regime change? Is his transformation into George W. Bush complete? But why? Why would Cenk? Why would Cenk? Why would this happen? Cenk told us that the anti-war coalition of MAGA was going to prevent him from doing any of this. Was Cenk wrong about a thing? Is he a lying cunt? Crazy.
Of the rules of producing nuclear material, they've found Iran repeatedly trying to hide what they're doing. You're saying you don't trust them?
What I've also seen and read is that U.S. intelligence, global intelligence, and the IAEA said that since 2003, Iran has not been pursuing nuclear technology for weapons, and those are the. Well, that's what Tulsi Gabbard was saying until she came under pressure.
And again, so not only was he not interrupted by her, he gets to interrupt other guests. Carte blanche. He can just say, no, that's not true. And at no point will the host be like, shut the fuck up, mate, you've had your say. Like, this is fucking embarrassing. The degree to which this is just Israeli propaganda at this point is fucking embarrassing.
From Donald Trump to backtrack. That's what global intelligence has been saying. And all I'm saying, Tom, is as someone who said that the naughtiest thing you've ever done is invade Iraq, we need to think about the human lives at risk.
You remember, Tom? You remember, Tom, when you backed the invasion of Iraq, you fucking warhawk piece of shit. You fucking neocon ghoul. Do you remember that? Do you remember, Tom? Do you remember how badly that ended for everybody, Thomas?
And that's what I would say is important to focus on.
Okay, we'll have a lot of time to discuss this all with you later in the programme, but Piers, just before we get on with our interview with the ambassador, you know Donald Trump well. You're one of the few people who's...
Yeah, he's literally inside him regularly. He is literally from Truth Social. It's not politically correct to use the term regime change. Again, just going to show you that the phrase political correctness and or wokeness don't really mean anything. But if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? And then MIGA, which is not a reference to... I don't know, someone called Michael who acts like a black guy. I don't think that's what that is. No, I believe that's supposed to be make Iran great again. Because Donald Trump literally has one thought in his head and he can't conceive of anything. He has the creativity of a dead person. Unbelievable. Neocon done. Absolutely.
who sort of has understood his motivations and how he operates. Are you surprised that he took this decision? He promised the American people he would end all wars.
Well, he did, but if you remember in the first term, he took out General Soleimani, one of the key members.
Yeah, do you remember? He was a war hawk in that as well. Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
Of the Iranian military. He took out the head of ISIS as well. He launched strikes against Syria when he felt that they had attacked American servicemen. So he's not afraid to do this. He would have done it, I think, after a lot of thought. But ultimately, the calculation, I was editor of Daily Mirror, and we opposed the Iraq War.
And you also published fake stories and fake pictures of torture, didn't you? Because you're a really good journalist. Maybe you should have tapped the phone of Saddam Hussein. That might have been easier.
Precisely for the reasons you just articulated, which was I did not believe there was the evidence that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. The difference here is that no one's disputing the evidence. It's all been laid bare. You have to ask the ambassador.
I am disputing the evidence. Absolutely, because I don't think you have the evidence to suggest what you are suggesting.
Why did Iran go from 3% of uranium enrichment to 60% in a few years when you only need just over 3% for civilian usage? There is only one reason you would enrich uranium to 60%, and that is because it is a level up to where you can then move very quickly, if you wish to full capacity weaponization of nuclear bombs. They have got enough 60% enriched uranium to make, I think it's 10 nuclear weapons. And at that point, when that report came out establishing that with all the...
Maybe they should. Like, honestly, at this point, like, I hate nuclear weaponry. I wish it didn't exist. Robert Oppenheimer's birth was a mistake. No, I'm only joking. He was just a scientist. I wish nuclear bombs didn't exist, right? But I'm getting to the stage now where, like, I honestly think it's a mistake for countries not to get them. Because you'll notice they're not doing this with North Korea, they're not doing this to Pakistan. They're not doing it to the countries that have nuclear weapons, because with nuclear weapons, you can fight back. You need 90% enrichment, not 60%. Oh, so he's just lying then. Okay, brilliant. Fucking fantastic. Again, what a fucking tool he is. Yeah, I think Iran basically, it would be foolish for them to not get nuclear weapons, regardless of the fact that I don't like the Iranian regime for various fucking reasons. From the self-preservation perspective of any government, it would be silly not to get nuclear weapons now. It would be fucking suicidal not to get nuclear weapons. Because as soon as America turns its gaze to you, as soon as they find a lithium deposit or oil, heaven forbid, you're going to find you're going to get quote-unquote liberated very quickly, unless you have nuclear weapons. So you'd be stupid not to. If you're a country that can vaguely afford nuclear weapons, you'd be silly not to invest in them. And that's horrible. The American government, because of its fucking ludicrous imperialism, and because of Israel and its farcical imperialism, I mean, just like, what the fuck is going on there? They have now forced the incentive that every small country has to get nuclear weapons. It's very simple. Fucking mad. Thank you, Tartines, me loves. Or Tartines, me loves, maybe? I don't fucking know. For gifting a sub to 8DX, man. Much love to you both. Don't forget, if you're enjoying the content, you can like, you subscribe, become a member, ring the bell icon, do super chats, subscribe. I just said that one, didn't I? Bits messages? Bits messages are a thing. Yeah. Iran has stated that 60% enrichment is needed to fuel the Tehran research reactor. The TRR is used for producing medical isotopes, including molybdenum-99, used in imaging. In theory, 60% enrichment could support experimental targets or backup fuel development, but it is not required for typical medical applications. Okay. How long before Netanyahu says Iran was 1 week away from a nuclear bomb again? Oh, well, it'll be next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Victory is ours!
He's been saying for like 30 years now that Iran was just about to get the nuclear bomb. And every time he said it, gullible, actually not gullible, lying cunts like Piers Morgan have parroted the bullshit. Tragic.
The lies that you referenced, the lies, the obfuscation, and then why are you hiding all this under a mountain? What have you got to hide? That's the question, and I think...
Yeah, why won't you just put them outside where America and Israel can bomb them much easier? What have you got to hide? Let's not mention the fact that Israel has never once allowed a single IAEA inspector into any of their facilities. Let's never ever mention that. No, let's just focus on the fact that you didn't put your sensitive places in easy to bomb locations, and that means you must be a bad guy.
Ultimately, Israel and now America made the calculation. They are moving fast to potentially having a nuclear bomb, and any country like Iran, which has been the octopus with tentacles to...
Can I send a clip you bookmark? Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Terrorism for Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis.
Oh, God, he mentioned Hamas again. Oh, do you condemn the Hamases? Yeah, we know. We've been through it.
With a nuclear weapon.
Well, Donald Trump wants to use this...
And you know what's Hamas now? Spray painting. You know they're going to fucking prescribe Palestinian action for using spray paint? So, like, it literally... look, spray painting stuff is as bad as Al-Qaeda. And it's basically 9/11 and Boko Haram all together in one. And ISIS. And the Bader Meinhof? Yeah, that's an obscure one. We'll do that.
Moment to force Iran to give up its fight, and he warned late last night he'd be willing to attack Iran again.
This cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago.
How could that possibly have been? Didn't you say that Joe Biden had destroyed the US military? There's no way you could have rebuilt it in like 4 months. What are you talking about? Oh, you were lying. Oh, okay. Cool.
Well, there's no denying it's a moment of serious international tensions. It is important to know the UN nuclear authorities say there's no evidence so far of any increase in radiation levels away from those sites. But let's speak to the Iranian ambassador joining us for the first time on the BBC today. We appreciate you coming.
Manchita, who's come out and said there's no ruling for prescribing them? I've seen both the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary say they want to prescribe them. So who has come out and said that they're not going to? What's this? Netanyahu's jaw-dropping hypocrisy complains about Israeli hospitals while bombing Gaza. Oh yeah, we know about that. He's a massive fucking hypocrite. Yeah. Kev, you're gonna get the nuclear sign out again. Do I still have the nuclear sign? Oh, I do. Yeah. Boom. Nuclear.
In this morning. America claims they've obliterated their nuclear facilities. Is that true?
First of all, let me mention here another dirty page of violation of international law and squandering of the dignity and reputation of the United Nations has been making by President Trump. President Trump, after the squandering of the JCPOA, is going to squander the United Nations charters and as well as the non-proliferation regime. So that there is no doubt this attack is a violation of the United Nations Charter and as well as armed aggression to the Iranian national sovereignty and Iranian territorial integrity.
What America and Israel would say is that this actually has been an action to take out a serious threat to the stability of the Middle East, a serious threat to the world, after years when your country's leadership has obfuscated, has hid, has repeatedly been in breach of the international...
I'm sorry, is this literally just an Israeli state broadcaster now? So should we change their name to the IBC? Because this is just the Israeli Broadcasting Corporation at this point, isn't it? What the fuck is this? She's literally just doing Israeli... This is just Hasbro TV. Fucking hell. Oh my god, this is fucking awful. This is one of the flagship fucking TV shows on politics in the fucking... on the BBC. And this is the shite they're producing. Like, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of criticisms you can and should make of the Iranian government because they're not fucking good people. Or not good, they're not good systems, whatever, you know. But you're just parroting Israeli bullshit. That's all you're doing now. Whilst never ever accepting that there is a rogue state in that region that illegally has obtained and holds nuclear weapons. And begins with the letter I. That nation being Israel, of course.
international rules about nuclear.
But ironically, you've gone after the two other countries that begin with I for not having nuclear weapons. Bravo.
Weapons.
Oh, it's very clear that we are the responsible state in the international arena. We are the member of the NPT. We are the member of the IEA. And comprehensive and extensive monitoring has been doing now the Iranian nuclear facilities. This kind of matters raised by the different Western countries against the Iranian nuclear activities, all of them are politically motivated statements. And I do believe that there is no any evidences regarding for the deviation of the Iranian nuclear activities to the military phase, because we declared that according to the Iranian obligation and as well as the Iranian monitoring to be monitored by the IEA, there is no any evidence that Mr. Grossi mentioned in his interview with the CNN.
Well, let me tell our viewers what the evidence is.
I won't criticise like someone for whom I would suspect English is not their first language for saying nuclear wrong. The sort of joke or my sort of faux outrage at that is based on the fact that native English speakers, for whom I say native, you know what I mean, the people for whom English is their first language, it's not that difficult a word. It's really not that difficult a word. You should be able to pronounce it. And yet so many struggle, and it's very annoying. So I'm not going to have a go at the Iranian guy, because I suspect his English is a great deal better than my Farsi, is what I would guess.
The International Nuclear Watchdog has reprimanded you on many occasions of not coming clean. They reported that you'd breached the rules last month. In 2019, they revealed that you had stockpiled more uranium than you needed. And even back in 2002, it was revealed you'd been running secret nuclear sites. The evidence is there, Mr. Ambassador.
Interesting. I'll wait and see, because she's about to interview Isaac Herzog, the president of Israel. Let's see if she asks the same question to him about them having nuclear weapons and running nuclear sites that are secret, because no IAEA inspector has ever been allowed into them. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. I'm sure she's a fair, award-winning journalist, so I suspect she will definitely ask Isaac Herzog that question, won't they? Of course she will. Of course she will. It would be fucking mental if she didn't. That's called foreshadowing.
During our interaction with the IEA, there were and there are some ambiguities regarding for the nuclear activities. With the same procedure with the other countries has their own ambiguities, and so the IEA inspection come to that country and as well as to my country has a different monitoring, has a different inspections regarding to remove any misunderstanding, to remove any ambiguity.
There is no
through the diplomacy.
There is no misunderstanding of the evidence, and I want to ask you about what happens next after these attacks. But before we do that, why on earth does Iran require 60% enriched uranium if it has no interest in building a nuclear weapon? Yeah. Any security expert you ask will tell you there's only one reason to have that.
Regarding for our enrichment, that we should mention these activities within the JCPOA and as well as with our inherent rights regarding for the peacefully using of the nuclear energy for generation of the fuel, electricity, medicine, and every R&D activities.
There is no requirement for uranium
you see that regarding for the enrichment of the 60%, according to the technical experts, they believe that this level of their enrichment, first of all, would be one part of the R&D activities regarding to different issues related to the nuclear activities, and all of them has been monitored extensively and comprehensively by IAEA.
Well, any security expert you speak to and you ask about this.
Oh, any security expert, like my friend, insert CIA expert, insert Mossad, insert MI6, insert fucking whatever the French one's called, Le MI6. I don't fucking know.
That there is no need for that kind of level of enriched uranium for anything other than building a weapon. But I want to talk about this attack. The American president
there is no deviation from our side to go into the military attack. Definitely.
There is very clear signaling from America. They will strike you again if you do not negotiate, if you don't give up your nuclear ambitions. Will you do that? What would it take for you?
Excuse me, Laura. We were in the middle of the negotiation. On Friday, that the Israeli regime attacked us. The Sunday...
And specifically attempted to murder the fucking lead negotiator. They specifically targeted him so that negotiations couldn't happen.
Next Sunday, it was planned to have the next round of the negotiation with Mr. Mitkov and Mr. Arakchi in Muscat. But unfortunately, Netanyahu destroyed this diplomacy. There is no any pretext to do that the Iran, making some problem for the diplomacy. No, it's still that the Iran, wherever and whenever that we...
Like, you can't bomb a country and then say you need to be peaceful. Like, imagine if Bin Laden had turned around after 9/11 and gone, I ask that the American government not overreact and not escalate the situation. America needs to be peaceful now. Imagine. Just imagine for a second what the response would have been to that. I mean, I'd have laughed my bollocks off, but from America.
Reiterated regarding for our intention, our strong desire to have a diplomacy, to have a negotiation, to reach the one compromise, and according to the mutual benefit for both sides. That, unfortunately, now we are facing with the one aggression raised by and made by Israeli regime against our national sovereignty, our people, and our civilian population.
And indeed, many of your civilians have been killed here and they are in danger. But you have a choice here. You could stop your attacks on Israel and you could say, yes, let's negotiate.
We are defending. According to the United Nations Charter, Article 51, the one regime like Israel attacked us, very armed attacked, and so according to the inherent and legitimate right that we are offending. We are not attacking. Only defending ourselves, our people, our civilians, our scientists. Unfortunately, they're barbaric.
That's a fair answer, but I'd have just screamed at her, just gone motherfucker! Literally, Israel attacked first. We know this. Not even Israel denies this. What? This isn't even just propaganda. This is just. It's just lies. It's not even a twisting of the truth or a framing. It's just a lie.
Regime of the Israel making a lot of defamation and something false and misinformation, disinformation to evade all of the issues regarding to the Iranian legitimate rights. Unfortunately, it makes a lot of problem not only for himself and Iranian, but for the region, for the global. For non-proliferation treaties, mechanism.
Yeah, ultimately what this is going to do is force Iran to leave the NPT. It's just going to probably have to do that at some point. And then build its nuclear bomb at some point. Because being bullied by America and Israel is just not going to be tolerated. The Iranian people are not some broken down country. Iraq was a country they could take. Not necessarily hold very easily, but take. Iran is not that. Iran is a very different kettle of fish, and I think they're about to find that out. That's why That's why Israel was desperate to get America involved. It had to. It was crucial, because they knew they couldn't take Iran by themselves. They needed that kind of stealth bomber, fucking heavy numbers, potentially boots on the ground type shit to do anything. Israel has nuclear weapons, of course, but it's not going to use nuclear weapons preemptively against Iran. I think it would definitely use nuclear weapons if it was ever truly existentially threatened. But that's sort of how you know that Iran isn't an existential threat to Israel, because they haven't used nuclear weapons against it. Isn't Iran 10 times the size of Iraq? I don't know if it's quite that big, but it is many times bigger than Iraq. And it's got a lot of mountains and some really gnarly deserts as well. Like, Iraq, by comparison, is a reasonably flat place. Not completely, let's not pretend otherwise, but like, reasonably flat. It has navigable rivers and things as well, which is, you know, can be helpful. Whereas Iran is like crazy bumpy. Like it's imagine Afghanistan but on hard mode. That's what we're talking about with Iran. Because it's all mountains or desert, by and large. Obviously, there are some flat bits, and there are some very big cities, some very nice cities by the looks of it. And delightfully, I love the fact that the street on which the British Embassy is in Tehran is called, technically it's called Babi Sanders Street, because that's been Persianified, but it's Bobby Sands Street. Named after the former member of the British Parliament, albeit that he never took his seat up because he was in prison. As imprisoned technically as a terrorist. Anyway, and he died on hunger strike, and so they named the street on in Tehran Bobby Sands Street, which is delicious.
Reputation and dignity of IEA, all of them going to be destroyed, maybe destroyed now.
In terms, though, of your retaliation, Iran has said if there was an attack like this from America, with or without UK help, you would retaliate. What will your retaliation be?
Regarding for our reaction for this wrongful and wrongful acts of the American regime, our authorities are considering how the quantity and quality of our reaction, maybe for regard for
Thank you, Marcus. By the way, Marcus, oi mate, how you getting on? Iran is 2.5 times the size of California, around the size of Alaska, and about half the size of India, Jesus, and has a population of 90 million. That's quite massive. that's really big. Let's get a topographical map for everybody. Even though it's topographical, isn't it? Topographic map. Iran. Bumpy. You see that shit? The Zagros Mountains especially, bumpy. Lots of mountains. This is all mountain everywhere. Except, of course, the flat bits, which are fucking desert. Like, you can't take that shit. Look at it. It's fierce as fuck, man. By comparison, let's take a look at Iraq. Flat. Flat and green. Look at it. The only mountains are the bits of mountains that spill over from Iran. That's literally it. The only mountains they have are the ones that spill out from underneath the carpet of Iran next to them. See all that brown bumpy shit next to it? That's Iran, by the way. There we go. So, you know, Iraq, pretty simple to take. Nice and flat, nice and easy. Not many places to hide. Iran, different ball game. Very different.
And so everything is going to be considered according to our rights, or there is no doubt, only defending face, not going to be making some problems for, the region. Everything should be monitored, everything should be calculated according to the
Persian carpet, you might say. Very much so. I like that.
National, regional, and global interests.
Iran has said previously, if the UK were to help Israel or America in terms of going after Iran, that you would retaliate. But isn't the truth actually that the Iranian regime is already a grave danger to this country? The Director General of MI5, for example.
No. What the fuck are you talking about? No. What the fuck threat does Iran pose to us? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like the Iranian regime. They're fucking wankers. They're a threat to their own people, to be sure, and they're very unpopular amongst their own people. You may remember the fucking riots not that long ago. There have been all kinds of protests about the wearing of certain religious pieces of garments for women and so on and so forth, right? Fucking bad dudes. But, like, what fucking threat does the Iran pose to us? And I'm not saying that to be all like, oh, fuck Iran. Look, we couldn't take Iran either, because, again, mountains and shit. Mountains and deserts. We can't fucking take Iran, but Iran couldn't take us either. They're not a fucking threat to us. Well, they can't even fucking their missiles can't even get halfway to us. We are 4,500 miles away. They can reach about 2,000 miles. They can't fucking reach anywhere near us. Now, that's not, in the modern world, that's not the only threat one can pose. But, like, surely our cybersecurity should be a great deal better than that which can be composed, compromised by a country that has been sanctioned to fuck over the last 20 years. Like, if we can't fight that cyber threat off, then, I mean, Russia are going to be laughing their bollocks off. We've got no fucking chance. Iran also has Persians, Balochis, Kurds, Azeris, Arabs, etc. My family were Kurds who left there. Yeah, Iran's a very, very diverse ethnic place, yeah. Absolutely. It's literally one of the crossroads of civilizations. Yeah, people have come and gone. It's it's a very, very complex patchwork.
Has said in public there have been more than 20 Iranian-backed plots, some of which sought to be lethal against people here in the UK. Our Home Secretary has said that Iran is a national security threat.
Oh, as long as the Home Secretary said it, there's no... Look, there's absolutely no bias going on there, no. When has a British Home Secretary ever lied to us about anything? No, that's crazy. Again, notice how only one side ever gets questioned about anything. There's only pushback against one side ever. The claims of Tom Tugendhat, not questioned. The claims of Israel, not questioned. The claims of the British government, not questioned. The claims of this one Iranian dude and Zara Sultana get pushed back as if it's the fucking third degree. Again, just bear in mind this level of questioning compared to the softball bullshit she's about to fucking deal out to Isaac Herzog in a minute.
Yes, let me regarding for this issue that has been, I had a meeting with Mr. Minister Jarvis and as well as other people in the FCDO regarding for this misunderstanding and misinformation. Early May in this year, that the two groups of the Iranian has been arrested. One group had consisting of 5 people, has been, alleged and accused.
And alleged have been charged.
No, let me. You are not being updated, but unfortunately, I asked Mr. Jarvis to update the public. After the 2 weeks that the arrest, and 5 people has been charged for activities to doing some terrorist activities against the specified premises, according to the speculation was Israeli embassy, all of them released. All of them released without any charges, without any bail. And unfortunately, the UK Parliament has not been updated. The public opinion of the United Kingdom has not been updated regarding for the release of the people, because making a lot of coverage, making a lot of noises regarding for...
Also, by the way, in terms of like spying and shit like that, Britain is a fucking open book. The Chinese had a fucking spy that was so close to the fucking royal family that he was like bestest best buddy buds. We know that the fucking Chinese and Israelis have had spies essentially blackmailing, but it doesn't really have to even be blackmailing, members of the British Parliament have infiltrated massively. Well, I literally just showed you the thing earlier about the guy who's the fucking Middle East editor for the BBC, who's literally openly bragged about working with the CIA and has close collaborative ties with Mossad. Britain is a fucking joke of a place. We always have been. Like, there's something... Spying has never been a thing that we've been very good at, unfortunately. Or at least not very consistent at. Honestly, I implore you to look into the Cambridge Spies. An absolutely fascinating period of British history. Wherein a series... And not just the ones that we know about, but there are various that we don't fucking even really know about. For various reasons. That maybe even the British state don't really know about. Highlighted by Kim Philby and all of those guys, who literally worked his way into the British establishment to the point where he was working for MI5 as the head of the counter-Russian spying intelligence branch. So literally the organisation within MI5 tasked solely with rooting out Russian spies. He was the head of that, and he was a fucking Russian spy. There are instances that we know of where people were on his trail from MI5 who he purposefully had sent to Russia, informing Russia to kill them. And they were killed. He was able to use the Russian government to bump off other British spies in order to make sure that he was never uncovered. And the brilliant thing about this is, it was only ever fucking outed, not because the British ever covered it up, or ever uncovered it, but because the Americans uncovered it, because one of the fucking top aides to the British ambassador in Washington, D.C. was a fucking Soviet spy! And the Americans found out. And then they all had to fucking flee to Russia. They found out that the leak of like fucking private information to Moscow from Washington DC was coming from inside the British embassy. That was the only way it was ever found out. If it was just left down to the British, they'd probably still fucking be there. And the Soviet Union doesn't even exist anymore, and they'd still be fucking Soviet spies running the place. So like we are very easy to fucking dupe. Just get a posh English lad. Just buy yourself a posh English lad. And you can fucking work your way into the halls of MI5 piece of piss. Fucking embarrassing. It sounds like a Mr. Bean movie. It basically is. It basically is. Fucking tragic shit. So like, the fact that these 4 Iranians might have done it, I mean, yeah, maybe they fucking did. I assume every single British spy is a double agent for someone. If they're not, they're missing out on income. They're not maximising. They're not on the Sigma grind set, okay? Any British secret agent, or informant, or officer or whatever, right, who isn't in the pay of a foreign government is not on the Sigma grind set and is not maximising their financial benefit. Simple. They can't be trusted. Communists, probably.
That this group of the Iranian going to commit some criminal activities in your country. Excuse me, this is very important. The Iranian government, Iranian nations has not threatened the British government, British people. We have a very constructive and respectful diplomatic relations with the United Kingdom. Me and Mr. Hugo Shorter, your ambassador.
Mr. Ambassador, we are running out of time, but I must put this to you. The Iranian government has committed human rights offences against its own people. You lock up women for not covering your hair. Same-sex relationships are illegal in your country. Political critics of the regime are locked up and often persecuted. And there is plenty of evidence of Iranian activities against this country, including going after journalists and their families. And you're asking our viewers this morning to take your word for it rather than the Director General of MI5.
You see that if you want to go to regarding for the human rights situation in Iran, I think that we have we have a very important matters in nowadays, the aggression made by the Israeli regime and American regime to the Iranian people. It is a very important, Laura. It is. If you want to go to the human rights situation in the United States and as well as in your country, there are a lot of problems. Nobody perfect. Now, this is a priority to address the aggression to something action made by the Israeli regime and American regime against the nuclear non-proliferation regime. It's a very important. If you want to go to...
Like, Laura as well, there's a sort of bigger, I don't know, point of, here. Do you think that the problems that you outline within Iran, which are definitely massive problems, the punishments for homosexuality and for immoral, quote-unquote, behaviours by women, etc., are grotesque. The punishments being meted out to the Iranian people by its government are sickening. But do you think that this action by Israel and America helps in any way? Do you think it's going to make the people of Iran more or less reactionary? Do you think it's going to make them more or less positive towards, quote-unquote, Western values, liberal democratic values? Because if all they see from the liberal democracies is bombs falling on their heads, I don't think it's really going to sort of chill them out towards liberal democracy. If you ask me. You know. Just a thought for you. Just a cheeky little word in your shell, you know.
So the human rights, okay, we have the same own problems. You have the same problem, and every mechanism during the human rights, within the Human Rights Council, UPR, and something like this. Okay, we all normally we're going to address and regarding for the different people has been violated the human rights. No, in Iran, that we are very decisive regarding for the enjoyment of all of the rights. But you see that maybe sometimes we have some problems regarding for human rights matters.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, we do appreciate you coming in this morning
so
on a
much.
very busy and serious morning for your country and for the wider region. Thank you very
Thank
much
you so
indeed
much.
for.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for spewing Israeli propaganda into his face there, Laura. Very useful, you fucking hack.
Your time. Well, the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, has expressed grave concern about what has happened. He has written...
Oh, we've got cheeky bit of rain. Can you hear that? Quite loud. You must be able to hear that. So hopefully things are going to be chilling out a bit, because I've been sweaty spaghetti for the last week. So hopefully things will calm the fuck down a bit.
On X this morning, there is a growing risk that this conflict could rapidly get out of control with catastrophic consequences for civilians, the region and the world. But Israel claims this could be...
Thanks, Antonio. I'm sure that'll calm things down. I mean, literally, you could just... The satirical kind of Onion-esque title I've gone with for this stream about how the World War III has been prevented because Keir Starmer said, like, act nicely, please, let's have peace. Right, you can basically do that and just replace Keith Starmer with Antonio Guterres or Mark Carney or Emmanuel Macron. All of them. Fucking all of them. They're all fucking useless wankers who've all done the same thing because they're cunts. Birmingham, 176 days of rain on average a year. It feels like a lot more than that. I hope the cat-sized rats are doing okay. Be a nice bath for them.
Be a new status quo. Earlier this morning, we spoke to Israel's President, Isaac Herzog, and asked him about what had happened overnight.
I commend President Donald Trump for his brave decision, correct decision, historic decision. I think this serves the national security interests of many nations in the world, nations who are potentially threatened by the Iranians, both terror, missiles, and nuclear program.
This would be a really good point, Laura, to say, well, why have you got a secret nuclear program, you prick? Also, Menorah. I feel like we should just interview the Menorah, to be honest. Should we just listen to that and see what that's got to say on the matter? It'd probably be less dishonest by just remaining silent at every... Just pleading the fifth would be less terrible than what he's going to say.
Did you know this was going to happen, and did you ask America to take this action directly?
So we were very cautious all throughout, as you could see. We decided to leave it to the Americans and to the president if he wants to carry out the strike, because
Oh yeah, no, we were super chill and hands off about it. We were like, yeah, Trump, if you want it, that's cool, but like we don't really care. Like it's not like we've literally forced America's hand into this at all. No. It's not like we've spent literally decades and decades, buying the entirety of the American political establishment through AIPAC. No. No, we're good boys. No, we were just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's fine. It's cool. Honestly, they were just vibing, really. They were just vibing in Tel Aviv. Fuck right off, you cunt.
Strike was aimed on very specific installations where the Iranian nuclear program was very much advanced.
Very much
advanced. It was
advanced.
actually a clear and imminent threat to the free world. I didn't know about it specifically.
Are you counting yourself as the free world? Because that's an interesting one, if you are. Like, I mean, the free world doesn't seem very free right now. When you've got America black-bagging people and sending them to El Salvadorian fucking torture chambers. You've got the British government potentially putting a group of kids who did some fucking spray painting on the same list as Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Osama bin Laden and some dude who spray painted. Brilliant. Amazing shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. Where's this free world, dude? I'd love to live there. And if you'd also like to live in the free world, you can hit the follow button. It will free you. The follow button will set you free, as it sort of says in the Bible. You can also subscribe to the channel. You can do bits, messages and super chats if you're on the YouTube. Oi. You can become a member for 99 pence. You can subscribe to the channel for fuck all. You can do a super chat, which I will read out after having shit my pants.
I was woken up when it happened, but I can say that what's really is important here is the fact that it can open a new venue in the Middle East, because I think there's a potential for a different Middle East, as President Trump said in his statement.
Yeah, one where Israel just has carte blanche from the river to the river, and then Armageddon can take place. And you and I, both of us, Isaac, for different reasons, will end up in hell.
We got him. Victory is ours.
Thank you. Dingus Van Sant, you were already followed. You are a silly sausage. This prosperity gospel channel. The god of socialism, which is definitely a thing, says that you need to send me $10 and you will receive a blessing. If you don't, though, you'll probably end up in hell. So you should probably definitely send me $10. Honestly, I couldn't be that dishonest. Like, I don't know how much of a cunt you have to be to, like, stand on stage and say some shit like that and be like, oh, you need to send me $100, and if you can't afford that, you need to send me $200. Like, it's, you know, and, like, live with yourself. Joel Osteen.
And yet, many people, and Iran certainly disputes that they presented an imminent threat to your country. But do you believe this morning that Iran's nuclear capabilities have been eliminated, that they have been obliterated, as President Trump suggested?
So we don't know yet the exact details, and me as a head of state without executive powers, I will await my discussions with the Prime Minister later on. But I can say that it's quite clear to me that the Iranian nuclear program has been hit substantially. I don't know exactly in detail, but I think all the facts prove, because that comes in addition to the Israeli strikes throughout the week, which were very vital and important in respect to this threat. Let's understand, for 80 years the world has been very clear that a combination of nuclear capability with a very, very extreme ideology, such as the jihadist ideology of Iran, is a very...
Oh yeah, they're very jihadist. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Also, just out of interest, did you know that Isaac Herzog's father was from Northern Ireland? or the north of Ireland, as we should really say. Which is really interesting, isn't it? That the worst religious extremist of Northern Ireland isn't even a Christian. Like, honestly, the Herzog family took a bullet for both Protestantism and Catholicism with that one. Amazing shit. Bravo.
Clear and present danger to the world. And that is why, for decades, the international community has taken very strict decisions that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. However, the Iranians kept on working underneath, clandestinely, all the time, in a very elaborate system of development of nuclear capability, which is...
Okay, and are you going to mention your nuclear arms? Is either of you going to mention the fact that you have nuclear weapons, Israel? No? Look, okay, I feel like as it's not being mentioned at all, right? I'm gonna have to do it, aren't I? Where are you? Boom. It has to be mentioned. Neither of them are going to say it, so there you go. I'm just going to leave it on the screen for the entire fucking thing of the interview. Someone has to mention the fact that Israel has nuclear weapons, so there we go. Now everyone knows. Because neither of these fucking wankers is going to mention this very, very pertinent fact.
Clearly a threat, and a huge threat, to nations in the Middle East, nations in the world, and of course to Israel. And let's be very clear. I'm always asking everybody, and they don't have an answer. Why would Iran have missiles all the way to London?
Iran, of course, has denied those ambitions, which you claim,
obviously
and we are speaking to them in the programme as well this morning. But in terms of what Israel's plan now is, if you believe the nuclear facilities have been damaged, they have been removed to an extent, will Israel stop its attacks on Iran that have carried on overnight?
So the attacks are focused on the Iranian nuclear program, and of course on the fact that Iran is launching ballistic missiles against us. In the last hour, we suffered heavy damages in cities around Israel, very heavy damages. So far, thank God.
Oh no! Oh no, we enjoyed the fucking around part, but the finding out is hurting. Oh no!
Without losses of life, but we have to do whatever it takes to defend ourselves against those missiles. These are
you literally started this. You literally started this,
and also missiles that scatter bombs all over in 7-kilometer perimeter. So we are doing whatever it takes.
Yeah. By the way, you have also used cluster munitions, and just to fight back against one particular Hasbro talking point, they say Iran has used nuclear weapons. Sorry, not nuclear weapons, cluster munitions weapons. They say Iran has used cluster munitions weapons, which is true. They do seem very much to have done that. But they'll say that that's against the Geneva Convention, which isn't true. They are managed by a completely different convention, which is the Cluster Munitions Convention. Or the Convention on Cluster Munitions, to be technically correct. Neither of which Israel or Iran are signed up to. So they're not actually bound by the not using cluster munitions convention. By the way, neither is America signed up to that, just as an aside. And Israel has used precisely those weapons in Gaza. So any Hasbro bullshit about how Iran's so terrible for using these weapons is faux moral outrage. They're talking shit, as always.
To eliminate them and delineate
Herzog,
the
you
capabilities
began
of
this
Iran.
attack on Iran 10 days ago. Now the Americans have taken out, it appears, at least most of the nuclear facilities. Will you stop your aggression towards Iran? If your goal was to damage the nuclear facilities, America has done that on your behalf.
No, of course they're not going
Surely
to.
then, to bring peace.
To quote the oft right-wing quoted but not understood at all book, George Unwin's 1986, or indeed George Orwell's 1984, the war is not meant to be won. The war is meant to be never-ending. And that's the point, isn't it? Israel doesn't want there to be a conclusion to this. Because a conclusion, not only in the short term, would mean that the Israeli government would fall and Benjamin Netanyahu would go to jail, but that the further interests, desires of the Greater Israel project, the kind of ultimate goal of the Zionist project, are not fulfilled. They need this war to go on and on and on. They need to drag America as far as it can into this conflict. They need to entangle America in this conflict, as well as trying to keep Russia and China out of this conflict. Which is why it was very, very good for them that the Syrian regime fell, thus weakening Russia's hand in the region. They have no interest in peace. They have absolutely no interest in peace. In the same way that they had no interest in getting the hostages back. The hostages being taken was the greatest thing that ever happened to Zionism. They loved it. They fucking loved it. They've gotten to do more in the last 18 months than they could possibly have dreamed of. They probably thought that they were going to end up having to take 20, 30, 50 years to do as much as they've done in the last 18 months. Because of the smokescreen of October 7th, October 7th, October 7th, do you condemn Hamas? Babies, babies in ovens, decapitated babies. Titty football. Literally titty football. Can we send Fetterman to defend Israel? Well, I mean, I would be okay with that, but I think after the heart attack, I don't think his brain's working to even the degree necessary to be in the army. I don't think he passes the IQ test, does he? Not sure.
And safety for your own civilians, it's time to stop.
So the way to do it is, of course, to deal with it in the international level and make sure that there is an exit strategy that contains and limits the capability of Iran to spread havoc, terror, missiles, and move to its nuclear program.
Israel has
this is exactly
nuclear
where the international
weapons.
community meets and
It has
discusses in a
nuclear
very serious
weapons.
way what
You would
President
think a
Donald Trump has
journalist would
done
mention
is really
that Israel
protect
already
and
has
defend
nuclear
the free
weapons.
world in this very important step tonight.
What is tit football? Okay. There's a guy called Rabbi Shmuley Buteyok. I don't think he's a real rabbi, but it's what he's called, whatever. He is a freak. An absolute fucking freak, right? I think probably the worst Israeli propagandist. And by the way, was one of the people who helped educate Hakeem Jeffries, current leader of the minority for the Democratic Party in the United States. So, in case you thought the Democrats were much better on this, they're not. Also, this operation was war-gamed with the Israelis under the presidency of Joseph Robinette Biden. So again, you know, they're pretty fucking terrible. Anyway, Rabbi Shmuley Buteyok went on the Piers Morgan show. We watched it live. Well, not live, but, you know, we watched it, reacted live. On the Piers Morgan show, debating some dickhead or another. I can't even remember who it was. And made up a lie about how supposedly Hamas had cut off the breasts of women and used them to play football. Which wouldn't Sorry, Cory Booker, not fucking Hakeem Jeffries. Apologies. Cory Booker. My bad. Yes. Forgetting, of course, that's not how breast tissue works. That's like trying to say you played football with a chicken wing. Like, it doesn't. It's meat. What the fuck? You couldn't. They're not like inflatable. But he claimed this was true. Obviously not. Obviously not. But Piers Morgan didn't push back on this because he's not a real journalist either. Is being a rabbi like being a vicar or reverend? It's just a title. Anyway, I don't know. You'd have to ask. You'd have to ask a Jewish person with much more knowledge about that. I honestly don't know. Yeah, vicar and reverend are things you can just do for yourself. Because, I mean, we've mentioned him before. The Reverend, quote unquote, Ian Paisley Sr., now dead. Can we get some lols in chat for him being dead? Fuck it, we can get some 707s because he was a fucking fascist. He was the guy who started the Ulster Against Sodomy campaign. And the reason that he was a reverend was because he just started his own church and called himself that. He never underwent any formal training or ecumenical school or college. He just went, no, I'm a reverend. I'm the Reverend Ian Paisley. And that was enough. And the people, like, officially people had to call him Reverend rather than Mr. Which is, that's how serious that religion is. Fucking loser.
Well, what the leader of the United Nations, the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, he takes a very different view. He says that this is...
He says, we'd prefer this didn't happen. This is very concerning. I will be writing a not very strongly worded letter to some people, maybe. And that's probably about as good as we're going to get from them.
Dangerous. There's a risk that this spirals into a wider conflict. He is not praising this action. He's warning it
I'm
makes
a reverend
things
of the
much
Church
more
of
dangerous,
Kiev.
much less safe for the region and indeed for your own citizens.
It actually shows the weakness of the United Nations and its capabilities, because the United Nations...
Well, that's true. Israel's continued fucking defiance of any number of UN mandates, yeah, is a signal of how pathetically weak they are. Yes, that is true.
should have been an organization that prevents Iran from going to the nuclear capability, or prevents Iran from spreading terror, havoc for decades already, killing innocent civilians all over, having terrorists.
Motherfucker, you are literally doing a genocide. There is a flower massacre pretty much every fucking day now. You cheeky cunt. You fucking hypocritical sack of shit. How fucking dare you? Did you know Iran are killing innocent people? Really? Wow, I mean, I'm glad you're not doing that, otherwise your statement would be fucking absurd.
Cells all over. Unfortunately, this reaction shows the hypocrisy in the United Nations behavior towards the entire situation, and unfortunately some of its irrelevance. And I think part of the process that we're in has to show the world that if you guys mean business, meaning preventing terror, preventing havoc, preventing nuclear capability in the hand of a jihadist regime, then you sometimes have...
Oh no, thankfully we've just got nuclear weapons in the hands of a Jewish extremist supremacist regime instead, which is much better somehow.
To be tough, and sometimes you have to take historic decisions.
You talked at the beginning of our conversation about a different Middle East. What does that look like? What do you mean?
Well, I think there's...
Benjamin Netanyahu gets crowned king of I don't know, all of the Middle East. I don't fucking know.
Now is the real hope. Now is the trajectory. Because Iran's threats have been looming over nations and countries all over the Middle East, threatening them that if they will go to any peace...
How many countries in that region are you currently bombing? / occupying at least part of? It's certainly a great many more than Iran.
This process or accommodation with Israel, they will suffer the heavy brunt. And if you look at it historically, we were in a trajectory of going into peace with, or let's say normalization with other countries, for example, Saudi Arabia and others that would have opened up.
Oh, you mean Saudi Arabia, the country that literally armed and funded Al-Qaeda? The one that was also been doing a genocide in Yemen. Cool. I'm glad you're so against jihadists, though. What about Salafists? Are they fine? They're fine, right? Cool.
The entire Middle East to connectivity all the way to Southeast Asia and Australia, meaning for British people, the connection would have been through the Middle East all the way to Australia rather than the Western Hemisphere, and so is the United States. That was derailed on October 7, 2023. But now is an opportunity.
Still mentioning it, still talking about it.
Opportunity to come to a dialogue of peace. Also, a dialogue of peace between all nations in the regions, including Israelis and Palestinians. For this, you have to get our hostages back home.
I mean, you could have had them for ages, that's a lie. Also, there would have to be some Palestinians left for you to have peace talks with. And you seem to be thoroughly trying to end the existence of all of the Palestinians. So if you could stop that, that would be cool. That would be a step forward.
From Gaza as soon as possible.
You raise what's happening in Gaza there and what's been happening to Palestinians. How can there be peace when Israel is bombarding that land in such a way? And we've spoken about Gaza a few times, President Herzog, here on the programme. I just wonder, how can you justify, on more than 10 occasions, Israeli troops opening fire near food queues where charities and NGOs on...
Because he doesn't think they're people. That's the actual answer.
On the ground say that children and people have been killed while queuing for food. How can Israel justify that?
So, first of all, in some of these reports were false. Others are under inquiry and in deep investigation.
There are more than...
Oh, well, they're going to investigate themselves. Oh, okay, that's fine then. No, I definitely trust that they're going to be very thorough.
10 occasions where this has happened.
Wait a minute. No, but we reject some of those claims. But I would say that in some of these instances, it is clear that it was Hamas operatives who wanted to...
Oh, it was the Hamases. Of course it was. Yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. It was Hamas. No, it was definitely Hamas. You know, that famous Hamas tactic of queuing in an orderly fashion for grain. Yeah. Terrible, terrible activity.
Stop the distribution of food, not through Hamas. The way Hamas operates is like the mafia, meaning they want to control the food in order to mobilize these people to terror. We've enabled a huge amount of trucks to go in, and the United Nations of the famous...
No, you haven't. You've literally been starving them. What are you talking? Look, you're just lying.
Secretary General refused so far to distribute this food. Hundreds of trucks are waiting to be distributed all over Gaza. And in addition, we opened a new venue and a new system of distribution that would take the food control out of Hamas through distribution centers. By the way, 30 million meals were distributed in the last few days in a very successful way.
President Herzog, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. We always appreciate your time.
Thank you and good morning.
That's the only pushback you're going to get. That's literally the only pushback. Actually, well, no pushback whatsoever. Again, I will just point out, they did not mention the very, very obvious fact that you would think they'd mention here, that Israel has nuclear weapons. Why does Israel have nuclear weapons and no one else is allowed to have nuclear weapons? Why is it that they're allowed to flout IAEA law and no one else does? Why is it that Iran is such a threat for not having nuclear weapons, and yet Israel isn't a threat and yet does have nuclear weapons? Interesting. On that bombshell. Thank you, everyone. Can I recommend Peter Oborne? Well, Flow Snake, clearly you arrived somewhat late to the stream, because I literally played the Peter Oborne thing where he confronted the, was it the head BBC News editing team or whatever his position was, the head BBC honcho chap. We're trying to learn facts from Laura Kay, indeed. Yeah, no, I played the Oborn clip. It's very good. He's a fucking conservatoid wanker, but a conservatoid wanker with like a shred of humanity to him, which is, you know, rare but welcome. That's good. And a journalist who cares about other journalists being killed, which again the BBC doesn't seem to contain many of. Oh, austerity is class war. Which by the way, your name is true. Go back in the VOD. It's in there somewhere. Oh, actually, no. Do I have the clip? Is it still on the copy and paste? It is. Yeah, there we go. I'll put it in both of the chats. You can go and see Peter Oborn tearing the BBC guy a new one. Yeah. So that was award-winning journalism there. The biggest hack piece of shit in the world. And on that bombshell, I'm going to leave it for the evening. I had the audacity to hit the pub on a Sunday night. You fucking degenerate. Nah, God bless you. It's been a hot few days. A couple of chilling beverages, I'm sure, will have done the trick. Let's see who. Hang on. Let's go. Customization. Redirect. Add. Who is going? Literally nobody. Fuck me. Okay. Well, if you're on YouTube, go in peace to love and serve your Lord or whatever. I don't know. Is the female back yet? Forgot her name. No, Justice MTG is not back yet. No. Helena is not back. She is still in an undisclosed location. Katie Marshall, Kev, I'm live. Well, I don't see you on YouTube, but I'll go to you on twitch.tv. Mad Cat. Everyone go and say hello to Mad Cat. I'm about to send you over there. And go and check out whatever the hell they're talking about. When she get back? No idea. She moves in her own way, chat. She moves in mysterious ways. I don't know. But I should be on with Christy... Well, I was about to say tomorrow, but technically today. Yeah, technically today, because it's 10 minutes past midnight. Can we watch you maybe tomorrow? Yeah, you can always watch me tomorrow. What? Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, hit the follow button or whatever. Or subscribe or whatever it is, yeah. So go and check that out. I'll be back tomorrow. Later today with Christy for a happy hour, which we were going to do on Friday, and then I fell asleep because I'm an EP boy. Stay beautiful. Thank you all for your listening and watching. Thank you for all of your support. Free Palestine. No pass around.